The battlefield was silent, not because the war had ended, but because everyone who had survived was too exhausted to speak. Smoke drifted slowly through the shattered trees. The smell of gunpowder lingered in the cold air. Broken vehicles burned in the distance. Somewhere far away, artillery still echoed across the mountains. And among the ruins stood a German shepherd named Rex, covered in mud, covered in blood, but still standing, still searching, still waiting for one man, his best friend, his handler, his family, Sergeant Daniel Carter. 10 years earlier, Rex had been born on a military training base. Unlike ordinary dogs, he never knew the comfort of a family home. His world consisted of training fields, obstacle courses, commands, discipline, and endless lessons. From the very beginning, trainers noticed something special about him. He was fearless, focused, intelligent, but what truly made Rex different was his heart. Most military dogs obeyed because they were trained to. Rex obeyed because he cared. He formed bonds, strong bonds, and once he loved someone, that loyalty became unbreakable. Daniel first met Rex when he was just 23 years old, fresh out of military school. Young, confident, and completely unaware of how much his life was about to change. The training officer pointed toward a kennel. "Meet your new partner." Daniel looked down. A young German shepherd stared back. Large ears, sharp eyes, tail wagging slightly. The dog stepped forward, sniffed Daniel's hand, then leaned gently against his leg. The officer laughed. "Looks like he already chose you." Daniel smiled. From that moment forward, they became inseparable. Military dog handlers spend more time with their dogs than almost anyone else. They train together, eat together, travel together, sleep near each other, trust each other with their lives. Within months, Daniel and Rex moved like a single unit. Daniel never needed to shout. Sometimes a glance was enough. A hand signal, a nod, and Rex understood. Their connection amazed everyone. Veteran soldiers often joked, "If Rex could talk, he'd probably outrank all of us." Their first deployment came when Rex was 3 years old. The war zone was dangerous. Roadside bombs, snipers, ambushes. Every step could be their last. One morning, a convoy prepared to leave base. Several military vehicles lined up. Soldiers checked equipment. Engines roared. Everything seemed normal. Then suddenly Rex froze. His ears stood upright. His body became rigid. He began barking, aggressively, toward a dirt road ahead. Daniel immediately understood. He ordered everyone to stop. The bomb disposal team arrived. Minutes later, they discovered an explosive device buried beneath the road. Powerful enough to destroy multiple vehicles. Powerful enough to kill dozens of soldiers. That day, Rex saved 27 lives. 27 families were spared from receiving terrible news. 27 children kept their fathers. 27 wives kept their husbands. And Rex never knew. He simply wagged his tail when Daniel praised him. Because praise from Daniel meant more than any medal. As the years passed, Rex became one of the most respected military dogs in the region. He detected explosives, found hidden weapons, tracked enemy positions, located missing soldiers. Again and again he saved lives. But every act of bravery came with a cost. War changes everyone. Humans, animals, Everyone. Rex had seen things no dog should ever see. Explosions, death, fear, pain. Yet every morning he still stood ready. Ready to protect, ready to serve, ready to follow Daniel anywhere. One winter mission changed everything. Their unit received orders to search a remote mountain village. Intelligence reports suggested enemy fighters were hiding nearby. The operation began before sunrise. Snow covered the ground. Visibility was poor. The mountains were silent. Too silent. Daniel didn't like it. Neither did Rex. The dog kept looking toward the forest. Something felt wrong. Then it happened. Gunfire erupted from all directions. An ambush. Bullets tore through the trees. Soldiers dove for cover. Chaos exploded across the mountainside. Daniel fired back, shouting orders, trying to organize his team. Then he heard a cry. A young soldier had been hit. The wounded man lay exposed between two rocks. Enemy fire prevented anyone from reaching him. Anyone except Rex. Before Daniel could react, the dog sprinted forward, straight into the gunfire. Bullets struck the snow around him. Yet Rex never slowed. He reached the wounded soldier, lay beside him, and barked repeatedly, providing the soldier comfort, refusing to leave him alone. The rescue team used Rex's position to locate the casualty and pull him to safety. The young soldier survived. Years later, he would tell reporters, "When I thought I was going to die, that dog stayed beside me. He was the last thing giving me hope." That night, after the battle ended, Daniel sat beside Rex inside a temporary shelter. The dog rested his head on Daniel's lap. Snow fell outside. The fire crackled softly. Daniel scratched behind Rex's ears. "You're crazy. You know that?" Rex wagged his tail. "You could have been killed." Another tail wag. Daniel smiled. Then his eyes filled with tears. Because deep down he knew the truth. Rex would gladly die for him. Without hesitation. Without fear. Without asking for anything in return. And there are very few humans who can say the same. Years passed. More missions. More battles. More scars. Both carried wounds. Some visible. Some hidden. Daniel developed nightmares. The war followed him into his sleep. Loud noises made him jump. Memories haunted him. But whenever those nightmares came, Rex somehow knew. The dog would climb beside his bed, rest his head near Daniel's hand, and stay there until morning. Never leaving. Never judging. Just protecting. Just loving. The way only a dog can. Then came the mission that would become their last. A mission soldiers would remember for decades. A mission that would make Rex a legend. But legends are often born from tragedy. And tragedy was already waiting. Hidden beyond the mountains. Waiting for them. Waiting for Rex. Waiting for the greatest act of loyalty anyone would ever witness. And neither Daniel nor Rex knew that when the sun rose the next morning, their lives would change forever. The next morning arrived cold and gray. Dark clouds covered the mountains. A storm was approaching. Daniel's unit received urgent orders. A reconnaissance team had disappeared beyond enemy territory. Satellite images showed signs of a large enemy operation. If the information was correct, hundreds of soldiers could be in danger. The mission was simple. Find the missing team. Gather intelligence. Return alive. But war rarely follows plans. The patrol moved silently through dense forest. Every soldier remained alert. Every sound mattered. Every shadow felt dangerous. Rex walked beside Daniel, focused, calm, professional. Then suddenly he stopped. His ears rose. His nose pointed toward a narrow trail. Daniel recognized the signal immediately. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Rex began growling. Low, deep, warning everyone nearby. Daniel ordered the patrol to halt. The bomb specialists moved forward. Within minutes, they discovered a massive explosive device hidden beneath leaves and dirt. The bomb was powerful enough to destroy the entire patrol. A few more steps. Just a few more. And dozens would have died. The commander looked at Rex. Then at Daniel. You just saved every man here. Daniel smiled and scratched Rex's neck. Good boy. For Rex, those two words meant everything. Several hours later, the patrol located the missing reconnaissance team. Or what remained of it. The soldiers had been attacked. Some were injured. Others were dead. The survivors carried critical intelligence. Enemy forces were preparing a major assault. They had to return immediately. But the enemy discovered them first. Gunfire erupted. Explosions shook the valley. Chaos returned. The soldiers fought desperately, trying to break through enemy lines, trying to get home. During the retreat, a mortar exploded nearby. Daniel was thrown violently to the ground. Pain exploded through his body. He couldn't feel his left leg. Everything became blurry. The battle continued around him, but the unit was forced to retreat. The enemy was closing in. Fast. Too fast. Rex refused to leave. Other soldiers tried calling him. Nothing worked. His eyes never left Daniel. Never. The wounded sergeant struggled to stay conscious. Though, he whispered, go with them. Rex remained beside him. Daniel tried again. That's an order. Still nothing. The dog lay beside him, protecting him, waiting, loyal until the very end. Hours passed. The battlefield grew quiet. Night arrived. Rain began falling. Daniel drifted in and out of consciousness. Every time he opened his eyes, Rex was still there, guarding him, watching the darkness, watching for danger, watching over his best friend. The second day was worse. Daniel had no food, little water. His injuries became serious. Fever began spreading through his body. Yet Rex somehow found water from a nearby stream. Again and again he returned, staying close, refusing to abandon him. At one point, enemy soldiers moved through the area, searching. Daniel could hear voices, footsteps, weapons. Rex remained perfectly silent, completely motionless. Not a sound, not a movement. The enemy passed only meters away. They never found them. That night Daniel cried. Not from pain, not from fear, but because he finally understood. This dog loved him enough to die beside him. And there was nothing more powerful than that. On the third day, rescue helicopters finally arrived. The military had launched a massive search operation. They had almost given up hope. Then one scout spotted movement below. A German shepherd standing on a rock, barking toward the sky. Again, and again, and again, refusing to stop. The helicopters descended. Rescuers rushed forward. What they found stunned everyone. Daniel was alive. Barely. And beside him stood Rex. Thin, exhausted, covered in mud, but still protecting him. One medic later said, I've never seen anything like it. That dog kept his owner alive. He never left him. Not once. Not for 3 days. Not even for a minute. Daniel survived. But recovery took months. Surgeries, therapy, pain, rehabilitation. Through everything, Rex stayed beside him. Inside hospital rooms, rehabilitation centers, everywhere. Doctors often noticed something remarkable. Whenever Daniel felt hopeless, Rex would rest his head on his lap. And somehow things became easier. A little less painful. A little less lonely. A little more bearable. Because healing is easier when someone refuses to give up on you. Even if that someone has 4 legs. Months later, Rex received a medal for bravery. Hundreds attended the ceremony. Generals, politicians, journalists, veterans. The crowd applauded as Rex walked across the stage. But Rex didn't care about medals. He didn't care about cameras. He only cared about one thing: finding Daniel in the crowd. The moment he saw him, his tail began wagging. Everyone laughed. And many cried. Because they understood. The medal wasn't the important part. Love was. Years passed. The war eventually ended. Daniel retired from military service. For the first time in many years, he and Rex lived a peaceful life. No gunfire. No explosions. No fear. Only quiet mornings. Long walks. And sunsets together. The life they had both earned. Yet time is undefeated. Even heroes grow old. Even legends slow down. And eventually, even the bravest dogs must rest. Rex turned 12. Then 13. Then 14. His muzzle became gray. His movements slower. His eyes softer. Daniel noticed every change. And each one broke his heart. Because he knew what was coming. One afternoon the veterinarian delivered the news. Cancer. Advanced. Untreatable. A few months at most. Daniel nodded. But inside he shattered. He had faced bullets. Bombs. War. Death. Yet nothing prepared him for losing Rex. Nothing. Those final months became precious. Daniel took Rex everywhere. The lake. The mountains. The forest trails they loved. Every place held memories. Every place mattered. Sometimes Daniel simply sat beside him, watching the sunset, holding his collar, listening to his breathing, trying to memorize every second, because he knew those seconds were running out. One evening they returned to the military memorial, the place honoring fallen soldiers and military dogs. Daniel sat beside Rex beneath a golden sunset. For a long time neither moved. Then Daniel spoke quietly. You saved my life more times than I can count. Rex looked at him. His tail moved gently. You were never just a dog. Another slow wag. You were my brother. Daniel's voice broke. His eyes filled with tears. You were my family. Rex rested his head against Daniel's chest. The same way he had done for 14 years. The same way he always would. A week later, Rex stopped eating. The veterinarian said the end was near. Daniel brought him home. Back to the place where they had shared countless memories. Back to the place where love lived. That final night Daniel slept beside him on the floor. Not because he had to. Because he wanted to. Neither slept much. Neither wanted the night to end. Morning eventually arrived. Soft sunlight entered through the window. Birds sang outside. Rex opened his eyes one final time. Daniel held his head gently. Tears streamed down his face. You can rest now. His voice trembled. You've done enough. Rex looked at him. The same loyal eyes. The same loving eyes. The same eyes that had followed him through war, through darkness, through life itself. Then Rex's tail moved once. Slowly, peacefully, and he closed his eyes. Forever. Years later, Daniel often visited Rex's grave. A simple stone beneath a tree. The inscription read, Rex, war hero, faithful friend, family forever. Visitors frequently stopped there. Some left flowers. Others left dog tags. Many left tears. But Daniel always left the same thing. A tennis ball. Rex's favorite toy. And every time he sat there, he smiled. Because grief is simply love with nowhere to go. And Daniel's love for Rex never disappeared. It never would. As the years passed, people remembered the story of the military dog who refused to abandon his wounded handler. The dog who stayed beside him for 3 days behind enemy lines. The dog who chose loyalty over safety. The dog who loved more deeply than most humans ever could. And whenever someone asked Daniel what made Rex so special, he always gave the same answer. He wasn't brave because he was trained. He was brave because he loved. And perhaps that is the greatest kind of courage the world will ever know. The end.